The New Jersey Pinelands Commission is celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Pinelands Comprehensive Management Plan, and I'm here with Alice Darcy, who was the Special Projects Coordinator for the Commission in 1979. She also served as the Manager of Intergovernmental Coordination and Enforcement and worked at the Commission until the 1980s. She also did part-time consulting work with the Commission and worked full-time at the Council on Affordable Housing. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.
So I understand that you were involved in the Pinelands Protection effort before the commission was created. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I was a planner at the Division of State and Regional Planning. Was part Department of Affairs. I was in graduate school as well at the time, and Governor Brendan Byrne, who was a friend of John McPhee's, decided he wanted to do a Pinelands. I guess he wanted to make it his legacy, which he actually did. Mm-hmm. And so he created this thing called the Governor's Pinelands Review Committee in early 1978. And they had people who were appointed. Candy Ashman was part of it, Frank Parker, but they didn't have any real staff. So they tapped my group to be staff. So I worked for a year for that committee. And we came up with the recommendations for the boundaries and for programs. And I wrote a brochure, and I did, a slide presentation with music that we took around to different places to promote Pinelands preservation. We had lots of public meetings. And then, so I was still kind of doing that when Governor Byrne issued Executive Order, I think 71 in February of 1979. They still didn't have any full-time staff. They just had all these people appointed. And so I was tapped to work on something called the interim rules and regulations, because government created a moratorium on development in the Pinelands in February of 79. And, but no one knew what we could allow and what we couldn't allow. So actually Bobby Zampella and I and Bill Harrison wrote most of the interim rules that in that few month period. And then Governor Byrne, signed the Pinelands Protection Act and hired Terry Moore, and then we had a real staff after that. So.
Right. So what was it like 40 years ago as you joined the commission and you're tasked with working on this regional plan that will govern land use, development, and the protection of resources in the Pinelands? What was the office like back then? What was it like taking on this big task?
Well, it was exciting. And at the same time, it was grueling, because we were given these pretty much unrealistic deadlines, to come up with a plan for 1 million acres. And at the beginning, we didn't even have any money. Terry found people to get us grants. He went to the Dodge Foundation, he went to other places, and that's how we got money. I mean, that's how we operated. And it was absolutely crazy. I mean, we were in that, I guess it's called Fenwick Manor or whatever. And I mean, it was a pit, because it had been deeded over to the Department of Environmental Protection, and the people who stayed there basically kept dogs, and it was basically revolting. No air conditioning, no screens, dog stuff everywhere. And we worked day and night. We worked weekends, we worked evenings, but we all had a common purpose. We all believed in what we were doing. We thought it was important, and we thought we were accomplishing something. So we had a great camaraderie. It was wonderful. I mean, like as a professional experience, it was like one of the best anyone can ever have.
That's great. So What portions of the CMP were you assigned or that you worked on? I'm sure you helped out with all different elements of it. You guys were all tightly packed there in the Fenwick Manor working on things. What were you working on?
Well, I kind of worked on the historic part, the social components, the introduction, the zoning, that came out of it. And then we all worked on going out to meetings and getting feedback from different groups and people in different municipalities, and we did a lot of night meetings. Then, when John Stokes came on, he sent us all home to write. Said, okay, go home and write these chapters. So we all went home, and then we would go in once in a while. And thank God for Steve Ford, because he just was the most amazing editor. And he just took all of our writing styles and he somehow was able to put it together and make it into one piece. But we all commented on each other's components because we all work so closely together.
Right. That's what I've heard. Yeah. So what regional planning models or documents or reports did you have prior to starting this? Did you have something in particular that would be helpful for you, or is this breaking new ground in essence?
Well, probably both. It's probably a little of each. When I was working for the governor's committee, I forget who arranged it, but we went up to one of the state parks in way North Jersey, and this person whose last name was also Moore, I think his name was Vince Moore, something like. He was the head of the Adirondack Park Commission. And so he gave the review committee people advice on what they had done in the Adirondacks. And then I know I did a lot of research with other regional entities in the country, like I forget the names now, but I mean, Florida had one. There was the California Coastal Commission, the Adirondacks, and I'm sure that we had others. But one of the things that we had that was vital was we had Ross Hardy's law firm from Chicago, Charlie Seaman and Wendy Larson, and that was their specialty. And they were and we had Richard Babcock, who was he wrote The Zoning Game. I mean, they were absolutely fabulous, and they worked along really closely with us. We had really, really good people.
That's what I've heard. Yes, that seems to be the common refrain. It is the common refrain from everyone who I've spoken to so far. And so what lessons do you think could be learned from that process that you went under to prepare and implement that plan, this very ambitious regional plan? Can it be?
Well, you have to have a thick skin for one thing. I mean, we had one or two guys, go into towns and get kind of chased out of town by pickup trucks because they weren't welcome. I had it easier, I mean, there is a time when sexism is helpful. But when I went into towns, lots of times I already knew some of the people, so they were better, to me. And there were also two commissioners, Bob Shin and Brian McFadden. Unfortunately, Brian passed away several years ago. But I mean, I worked in Ocean and Cumberland County to redo their zoning, and it was huge changes in the rezoning. I mean, they went from 1 acre to, in some places I had 30-acre lots, 70-acre lots in Jackson Township. And they were so good, they paved the way for me. So to have commissioners who are really also invested was critical to us getting the plan approved, and having it work, because we didn't just have to do the plan, we had to get it in place, and getting it in place was changing 52, 53 town zoning ordinance as an environmental ordinance. And that was huge. Because they were so varied in terms of their quality and their complexity, and even their, it wasn't over when the plan was adopted. I mean, that's when the real work started. Well, I mean, the real work had been going on for a long time, but you know, like you can have a plan, but you've got to implement it, and you've got to get buy-in.
Sure. For
it.
All right. Well, so as you look back now, 4 decades later, and
please,
what's life thinking about this, and does it seem like 40 years? First of all, but what do you, right? So, what are you most proud of in working on the CMP, and then your time working at the commission?
Well, I'm proud that we saved a good chunk of New Jersey from looking like a strip mall. You know, when I drive down to Long Beach Island or other places, and it's natural, you know, that wouldn't have happened without the plan. I mean, when we came in, there was 1 acre zoning everywhere. On a good day, it was 1 acre zoning. I mean, it was a lot denser than that, but I mean, that's what would have happened. It would have looked like North Jersey, or it would have looked like Tom's River, no offense to anybody, but that is, I mean, the Pinelands is so special. And until you spend a lot of time here, and I've lived here now for 35 years, you know, until you spend a lot of time here, you don't appreciate, you know, I guess the nuances of the beauty of it. And there are parts that have developed the way I would like. You know, but generally it's been 40 years and it's looking pretty natural still. And I'm proud of having been a part of that.
That's great. Well, we appreciate your work and your efforts, all the work that was done by the original staff and those who followed, and all the commissioners who worked on this. It's really made a huge difference in New Jersey. And so thank you very much for being here today, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Paul, you take care.
All right, thanks.